support political leadership when they're wrong. And unfortunately, I will say it, President Obama went to office and somehow he became an impersonator of George W. Bush. You got George W. Bush in blackface. Let me just be honest about it right now. Because when folks heard the word change, they meant change. Change the way you relate to the world. Change the way you do economics. Change the way in terms of the policies. Change the ways of exploitation and oppression and colonialism and neo-colonialism. Change, change, change.
I'm just trying to clarify. 5,000 people have been killed, more than 5,000 by drones. The majority of them are civilians, hundreds of them are children, and so we're here today, a broad coalition of groups, and they're meeting not only here in Washington, but in Los Angeles, San Francisco, cities all over the country, today and throughout the month of April, to say to the government, you speak in our name, but not with our consent, when you kill children and civilians all over the world. Now, Code Pink is here with a drone replica, and I have a permit in my hands that allows us to have a drone replica in Lafayette Park. We'd prefer to move it into the Pennsylvania Avenue, but Secret Service just shut that down. It's kind of interesting at how all these coincidences take place at once. So we're told the drone replica must go out of Lafayette Park, even though we have a permit for it. And the regulations state you can have at least one structure in the Lafayette Park. That's the rules. That's the law. Now, we're here to say, sisters and brothers, should we stay right here and wait and get Pennsylvania Avenue opened up and make our voices loud and clear? And do we have the right to have just a replica of a killing machine, not the real killing machines that are spreading terror today and every day in Pakistan, Afghanistan, Yemen, and Somalia? Are we going to stay here and make our voices very loud and very clear to say no to the government when it speaks in our name?
Yeah! They're so proud of it. Let it stay.
Let the drone stay. Not the real drone. We want those to go. We want to say no to drones. The replica's not the problem. The real problem is the killing machines themselves. So we're going to keep gathering here. We hope to be in Pennsylvania Avenue shortly. We have other people coming by bus from New York City. Let's make this day a day to remember. Thank you, sisters and brothers.
Open up the street! Open up the street!
I don't think I'll go.
Yes, we will.
Ma'am, take this out. You can't have this stuff on Lafayette Park. It's a tripod. You need to close it.
Children die.
Children die. Children die.
I have the permit.
Children die.
I want to see it. Let's walk over here. So we can just grab it out of my hand. Because I want to see it.
Children die.
Come over here. Don't you have a copy of the permit? No, I don't. That's why I asked for your copy. Anytime any officer asks you for the permit, you're supposed to give it. I'm just actually letting you see the permit. Let's start you guys so I get the camera over here.
I thought you had one.
Step over here so we can talk about
We are
your
talking.
permit.
Why do you want me to go separate away from them? I'm organizing a demonstration.
Back away this way. No, we're not. Are you the permit holder?
Yeah, I'm the permit holder.
This morning when you came here, everything that you have in Lafayette Park is supposed to be swept. Nothing was swept. So you're in violation of the permit for Lafayette Park. Alright? That was the agreed that you agreed to.
Where does it say that?
Did you not agree to that?
Show me where it is. If the permit.
Is that what you agreed to in the permit?
I don't know what the permit says. If you say
you did not read the permit.
Show me where it says that.
Drone killings gotta go.
Part 102.
We say no.
could have gone to a toy store and gotten a flying one and you'd be really upset.
I mean, they're arresting children for eating pastries in the shape of a gun. How ridiculous is that? This is America? Seriously? Seriously? I mean, I could go to aisle 11 and wipe my ass with the freaking Constitution right now. Because that's what you guys have made it out to be.
The badge numbers.
I have it on record.
Only true Americans stand up for their country. Something's going wrong. All the rest are pawns. Pawns for greed.
Look at that. How's everything? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it?
Sisters and brothers, we're doing well here. We have more people coming. When this street opens up, which presumably it is right now, let's form a picket line on the White House sidewalk. Everybody go up on the White House sidewalk, form that picket line. We want to stretch it out and make it as long as possible.
Chris, let's go.
Test, test.
Hey, you want this? I want it. You know, they did it because there was somewhere they had to take out the White House. There was a lot of vehicles there. That wasn't against us. They just moved their lot of vehicles. So that's why. That's why.
Which were ahead.
Hey, you can't fly that thing.
I'm gonna piggyback. We
confrontation over there now. You should tape, sister. You should tape the confrontation. It's a confrontation.
No peace.
Sisters and brothers, we're not going to let these cops stop this demo. Just keep picketing. Don't stop. Just keep picketing. Keep picketing. Keep picketing. Keep moving. We're not going to stop. If there's a police tape, go under it. Police don't have this right. This is a legal picket line. We have a permit. We have a permit. We have a permit to be here. Just keep picketing. Let's keep this picket line going. No justice, no peace. 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 Sisters and brothers, I want to tell you what's going on.
What's going on?
I want to tell you what's going on. We're going to keep this picket line going. Let's not have any gaps. If there's a gap over there, let's close it up. Let's close up the picket line. Here's the deal, sisters and brothers. We have a permit to be here. We've been in negotiations with the National Park Service for the past 3 months. We have a permit to be here. This is a legal demonstration. These police blocked Pennsylvania Avenue earlier, trying to hope that people would go away. We're not going away. We have a right to demonstrate. We're going to keep this picket line going no matter what. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No peace.
No peace, no justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
No justice! Sisters and brothers, I'm Margaret Hilliard with the Partnership for Civil Justice Fund. As you know, I provide representation to demonstrators, including to the organization today. I've spoken with the police here. I've informed them that setting up a police line is an illegal violation of people's constitutional rights. People have a right to be here. They have a right to be here lawfully. This is a lawfully permitted demonstration, and they should not be obstructing it and trying to disrupt this demonstration.
That's right!
All right, all right. We're not going to stop marching. We're going to keep this picket line going. We're going to keep it going at all costs. No justice.
No peace!
No justice.
No peace!
I said Africa is under attack. What do we do? I said Africa is under attack. What do we do? I said Africa is under attack. What do we do? I said Africa is under attack. What do we do? I said Palestine is under attack. What do we do? I said Palestine is under attack. What do we do? I said Palestine is under attack. What do we do? I said Pakistan
stand against these occupations all around the world. So they came up with drone warfare to try to fool you, to try to fool us, to try to make themselves look good, to make themselves not look imperialistic, to make themselves not look as evil as they truly are. But I asked the people who came out today, have you been fooled by the Obama administration?
No!
Have you been fooled by the Pentagon?
No!
Have you been fooled by the Israeli apartheid government?
No!
Have you been fooled by the puppet regimes around the world?
No!
All right, well, we'll take that message that the people of this country will not be fooled, will never be fooled. We will not ever stop until this drone warfare program is completely shut down, until the people of the world can live free, to where the right of self-determination is something that is undeniable for all people around the world, where peace and justice is a reality for all people around the world. We're going to put this U.S. imperialist regime in its place. The people have the power, not the government, not the elite, not the rich. The people like us have the power. So we're letting them know, no justice,
No peace!
no justice,
No peace!
no justice,
No peace!
no justice,
No peace!
no justice.
No peace! They say drone war! We say no more!
They say drone war.
We say no more! They say drone war!
We say no more. They say drone war.
We say no more!
They say drone war.
We say no more!
They say drone war.
We say Niger is under attack! What do we do? Stand up like that! Niger is under attack! What do we do? Stand up like that!
Sisters and brothers, this is a strong demonstration that's going on not just in Washington, not just in front of the White House, but in Los Angeles and San Francisco and cities all over the country. And it's a big coalition. It's not one group. I'm with the Answer Coalition, but we have Code Pink here. We have the Catholic Worker. We have Veterans for Peace. We have March Forward. We have a number of organizations from the Ivorian community, Pan-African Revival. We have Zaki Baroudi, who came here from St. Louis. We have Akbar Mohammed from the Nation of Islam. This is a broad coalition that's coming together to say no to President Obama if you speak in our name and spend our tax dollars to carry out war crimes through drone strikes in Afghanistan or Pakistan or Yemen or Somalia, or build new drone bases in Africa. If you do it in our name, you don't do it with our consent, because we know it's wrong, it's illegal, it's an act of war. It is, in fact, a war crime. And just like Bush Cheney, I want to ask Zaki Baroudi and Akbar Mohammed to come up here. What we're going to do today is we're going to keep picketing here for a little longer in front of the White House. And then we're going to march just a couple blocks away to General Atomics Corporation.
Boo!
That makes mega profits from the production of Predator drones that have killed thousands of people. And we're going to lay the coffins that you see burying the countries Yemen, Somalia, Palestine, Afghanistan, Iraq, and others. We're going to lay them at the doorstep of General Atomics and say to General Atomics, you have the blood of children on your hands. You go home to your rich suburban houses in Virginia and Maryland, but you made your money by killing children in Africa and Asia. And we're not going to let you do it without standing up, without exposing you for what you are. Criminals who should, instead of going home to rich, fabulous mansions, you should be in jail for crimes against humanity. And after we go to General Atomics, which we will leave for soon, and carry out this dramatic action, we'll march a couple blocks further to George Washington University. We want to stay together. We want to keep this rally going. We want now to hear from two organized crusader for peace and against imperialism and colonialism all over the world. Please welcome Akbar Muhammad.
Thank you, Brian Becker. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First of all, I'm honored to be here this afternoon to show that this is the way we do it in America. And we don't give a president a pass, whether he's black or white or yellow, if he don't answer to the needs of the people and continues a policy that has proven how reckless it is in terms of the human lives of people across this planet, catering to those who make money and profit on the death of the masses of people. And I want to say that the Muslim world now is the scapegoat. There's a Muslim who's traveled throughout that region and has watched the destruction of these drones with families and wedding parties, all in the name that we have the right to kill our enemies who are a threat to our system. The people of America, if we can wake them up, they would stand up against this and would not tolerate it to keep it going. I take my hat off to answer the coalition. They worked through a lot, but at least they turn out the people in the street to let the president and those who are running this government that everything is not all right, and that there are people throughout the world that are suffering. In Africa, we watched how they dismantled Cote d'Ivoire and put a man in that they wanted in power. They took the election and then took the legitimate leader of that country and put him in jail under the ICC. We watched as they opened the floodgates for the French under the guise that we must stop these terrible, radical, crazy Muslims from the north, and they took over Mali because Mali now has oil and gold. And with Mali's wealth that has just been found, they can wax rich their coffers again at the expense of the people. And if those leaders who want to stand up to defend their people and protect their people, then we don't have to put boots on the ground. We can send in a drone and take care of you. We watch this across the Middle East. So it's the people now are looking at the next big gold pot form, and that gold pot is no doubt the African continent. Since the death and the destruction of Muammar Gaddafi, Africa is in trouble and chaos. And now that the AFRICOM is setting up its bases, ready to deal with any leader that is not pliant with America's position, then the people in America, we have to stand up and let them know that it's a no-go on it. Barack Obama went to occupied Palestine, and he went to the young people that he thought he could penetrate because the old lines don't want to hear it. But the young people, there may be hope for them because they see a bleak future if they continue to follow the policies of those hardcore Zionists who want to destroy them as a people. So now here's where the voice. We got an opportunity if we can galvanize our people in America and keep this going. You can't let down. And the only way America will do what is right is you got to shame America. During the civil rights struggle, it wasn't compassion of the heart. I feel sorry for what we did to these black people, but they were shamed in the entire world. Russia was looking at them. China was looking at them. They talked about freedom and justice throughout the world. They talked about fair treatment, but they looked at what they were doing to 30 to 40 million black people in America, and they were shamed. And with that shame, they had to change policies. They had to patch up the mess that they made in order that they would not have this kind of view from the world of this country that preaches social justice, that preaches justice and equality, but crushes the people right in the country, and it doesn't stop inside of America, it goes outside of America. So, Brian Becker, those in the Answer Coalition, those who are working with them, what you have to do is keep it up. A lot of people get battle fatigue. Okay, we've been doing this for a long time. But as long as Allah gives me the strength of my legs and the clarity of my mind, we're going to stay in this struggle and then pass it on to the next generation. The young people, we got to bring them in. We got to educate them. We got to talk to them. We're not going to get them all, but we will get those who want to make a change, who understand what is happening in America. Thank you, Brian, for this opportunity. I look for talking this afternoon one more time.
Thank you, Akbar. Akbar featured speaker when we get to the ballroom at George Washington University, where we'll conclude this. Here's Eugene Puryear from the Answer Coalition, who will be chairing this demonstration.
All right, well, we want to bring one very powerful, important voice to you before we walk out. This brother flew all the way from St. Louis to be a part of this demonstration. Oh, he drove? Oh, my God. He drove all the way from St. Louis to be a part of this demonstration. So without further ado, I'm not going to say too much because y'all need to hear what this brother has to say. I want to introduce, from St. Louis, Brother Zaki Baruti from the Universal African People's Organization, straight out of St. Louis.
Thank you. First of all power to the righteous people. All power to the righteous people. As mentioned, my name is Zaki Baruti, and I'm representing the Universal African People's Organization, and I'm here in the spirit of three icons in our community. One of the icons being the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, who said, Africa for the Africans. And so to that end, we must have drones out of Africa. And we must push for an Africa that's a United States of Africa, that's not being taken over by these war profiteers. So we stand in solidarity, in complete solidarity with the movement that Answer is having here this evening. We also celebrate our brother Malcolm X. And brother Malcolm X says that we should not be so blinded by patriotism that you can't face reality. Wrong is wrong, no matter who does it or say it. President Barack Obama, you are wrong for pushing this policy of drone warfare against the people of the world. We also say that Malcolm had poignantly said, if violence is wrong in America, then violence is wrong abroad. So out of Africa, the drones and everywhere else. We also want to just make a few comments from Dr. King, the Prince of Peace, and we encourage our president to do some restudy of the teachings of Dr. King, who spoke on the whole issue that we cannot ignore war. Now it should be incandescently clear. No one who has any concern for the integrity and life of America today cannot ignore the present wars and the wars that's taking place. He also called for a profound change in the United States policy. When he was speaking on Vietnam, all we got to do is substitute Vietnam with Iraq, Afghanistan, Somalia, and so many other places where these warmongers are. The war in Vietnam is but a symptom of a far deeper malady within the American spirit. We will be marching, which we are doing today, and attending rallies without end, unless there is a significant and profound change in American life and policy. What we have to do is become controllers of this government with people who want fair play for everybody, not only in this country, but throughout the world. He also is speaking of the violence of America. He said that he could never again raise his voice against the violence of the oppressed in the ghettos of this country without having first spoken clearly to the greatest purveyor of violence in the world today, the United States government. In declaring eternal hostility to racism and militarism, our only hope today lies in our ability to recapture the revolutionary spirit and go into a sometimes hostile world, declaring eternal hostility to poverty, racism, and militarism. And last but not least, he criticized the United States war crimes and unjust wars. By saying God didn't call America to do what she's doing in the world today. God didn't call America to engage in senseless, unjust wars. And we are criminals in that war. We've committed more war crimes, than any other nation in the world. And he was going to continue to say it. And he also stated that America will not stop this war crimes because of its pride and arrogance as a nation. And so that's why it's very important that you, the people, create a whole new social policy here in America. Last but not least, we are here in support of this most important and historical march, because we say that drone warfare is a violation of international law, national sovereignty of independent countries, and it goes against the common standards of ethical and moral conduct. This drone warfare is another level of high-tech weaponry that is used to continue white dominance and privilege against people of colors and others throughout the world in the effort to continue to exploit their natural resources, to preserve the increase in the wealth of international, transnational corporations who are really the bloodsuckers of the world. And also, we are against the policy of the drone warfare because we also have to interconnect what's going on overseas to what is happening right here in the United States with the war on black people through the war of drugs, where you have a mass incarceration of our people, as well as disproportionately where you have black males as 6% of the United States population, yet 70% of those incarcerated in the jails. We must speak to that and see those problems are interconnected. We also got to speak to the situation of many of the police forces in our community who are acting as occupation forces, similar to the forces in Afghanistan and Iraq, who constantly beat and harass black people across this country to such effect that we got DWB, driving while black. So to that end, the challenge today is what are we going to do? Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people marched against the Iraq war, but they went ahead and had the Iraq war. Thousands and thousands of people have spoken clearly against the powers to be. I submit to you, to the progressive forces of the world and to the progressive forces here in the United States, we have to have an agenda where we begin to seize political power so that we have people in the White House, people at the Capitol building who really vote in our interest and against the interests of the transnational corporations that continue to exploit us day in and day out. Again, I close on this. All power to the righteous people. All power to the righteous people. All power to the righteous people. That seized power. Thank you.
Give it up for Zaki Baruti. Drove all the way from St. Louis. No justice. No peace. 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 What do we want? Drones out. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Drones out. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Drones out. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Drones out. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Drones out. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Drones out. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Drones out. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Drones out. When do we want it? Now. We want it tomorrow. Now. We want it yesterday.
We're going to take this assembly and we're going to march to the headquarters of General Atomics, the corporation that makes mega profits from the production of Predator drones. While we're there, we're going to have a dramatic action. We're going to have people staging, some people will stage a symbolic die-in and say to General Atomics, to its CEO and the other members of the board of directors, you get rich from the death of civilians and children, not in small numbers but by the thousands, and you should be in jail for carrying out crimes against humanity. We're going to march, and when we march, we're going to do two things. Can people hear me all right? Can people hear me? Yes. Probably in a limited way. We want people to carry these coffins, and even though they're symbolic coffins, we want you to treat the coffins We want you to treat the coffins with great respect, because while they are symbolic, they also represent something very real. The reality that 5,000 plus people have died from this form of imperialist warfare. And you'll notice that some of the coffins are much smaller than other coffins. And that's because hundreds of children have been killed by drone strikes. Why did they die? Their parents sent them out to collect firewood. They collected firewood to keep their homes warm. And some CIA operator sitting in Langley, Virginia, watching videotape in real time, saw a group of people come together and then disperse, and then come together again. And they made the decision on the spot that those bodies moving separately and then together were legitimate targets. Were legitimate.
Mike, I'll get
This is.
Tap, tap.
Testing. Sisters and brothers, what I was saying is that those drone operators in Langley, Virginia, CIA employees, saw the images of 10 or 11 people in Pakistan separating, coming together, separating again, and decided that they were the legitimate targets for a drone missile strike. But who were those 10 or 11 people that they saw thousands of miles away, blurred images on a videotape? They were young children gathering firewood to keep their families' homes warm. And those CIA drone operators pulled the trigger, and 2 missiles came down on those children, and all of them were incinerated. All of them were murdered on the spot. And then what happened? None of the people who committed that crime were put on trial. None of them were put in jail. In fact, they went home at 5 o'clock that day to their suburban homes in Virginia or Maryland and had a weekend off, a weekend of relaxation with their children, having just slaughtered 11 Afghan children. The story I'm telling is not hypothetical. It's not made up. It's not rhetoric. This happened, and this happens every day in Yemen, in Somalia, in Pakistan, Afghanistan, and the others. Now, if George W. Bush was doing this, I think all the groups would say, we cannot allow a government to carry out mass murder. And we're here today to say, we don't care if it's a Democrat or a Republican, if imperialism wages war against innocents anywhere, those people need to know that the American people, we the people, are willing to stand with them rather than the government that speaks in our name. That's why we're here at the White House, and that's why we're about to march to General Atomics to carry out this dramatic die-in where we will leave the coffins at the doorstep of those killers. No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace! No justice!
U.S. out of Africa!
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 U.S.
out of Africa.
U.S. out of Africa.
U.S. out of Africa.
U.S. out of Africa.
U.S. out of Africa.
U.S. out of Africa.
U.S. out of Africa.
U.S. out of Africa.
U.S. out of Africa.
U.S. out of Africa.
U.S. out of Africa.
U.S. out of Africa.
U.S. out of Africa. Please, not arrest him.
slower. The people who have coffins, bring them to the front.
Coffins can come to the front.
Bring their coffins to the front.
Come to the front. If you got a coffin, please try to bring it to the front. Coffin to the front, please. Coffin to the front, please.
Have the coffins come to the front. We're just a few feet away from General Atomics, the system that builds Predator drones, the capitalist corporations that make mega profits, as all of the military contractors do, off of the death and destruction of people in Asia and Africa, in the Middle East and Latin America. We're here to say that the corporate bosses who make these killing machines are not our brothers and sisters simply because we're Americans. We say the people of Yemen and Afghanistan and Somalia and Iraq and Palestine are our sisters and brothers. And when you kill them, you're killing our people. We're here in solidarity. We have more in common with the victims of drone warfare than we do with those who make mega profits from this murderous technology. That's why we will make this dramatic action. We want to go to the very doorstep of General Atomics and tell them, no justice, no peace, no justice, no peace, no drones, no drones, no peace, no drones, no peace, no drones, no peace. Eugene Puryear, where are you? Right here. Come back. Okay. There you go.
Must go!
Drones must go!
Drones
Must go! Drones must go!
Drones
Must go!
Drones
Must go!
General Atomics gets rich, children die! General Atomics gets rich,
Children die!
General Atomics gets rich,
Children die!
General Atomics gets rich,
Children die!
General Atomics gets rich,
Children die!
General Atomics gets rich,
Children die!
General Atomics gets rich,
Children die!
General Atomics gets rich,
Children die!
General Atomics gets rich,
Children die!
General Atomics gets rich,
Children die!
General Atomics gets rich,
Children die!
General Atomics gets rich,
Children die!
General Atomics gets rich,
Children die!
General Atomics gets rich,
Children die!
General Atomics gets rich,
Children die! Brothers and sisters, we're bringing the coffins up to the front. And as we're marching, let's stay together, come up to the front as we approach General Atomics.
We're going to go to the doorstep of these warmongers and General Atomics, and we're going to leave these coffins as a representation of those who have been killed by the genocide policies that they're making hundreds of millions of dollars on every single day.
Rich man's wrong, we say no. Drone killing's gotta go. Rich man's wrong, we say no. Drone killing's gotta go. Rich man's wrong, we say no.
Drone killing's got to go.
We say no.
Drone killing's got to go.
Our rich man's wrong, we say no.
Drone killing's got to go.
Rich man's wrong, we say no.
Drone killing's got to go.
Rich man's wrong, we say no.
Son of a bitch right there.
So here we are outside of General Atomics. General Atomics is one of the contractors, the war contractors, that is making profits off of the death and shaming of innocent people in countries like Yemen, Somalia, Afghanistan, Pakistan. We're here to call them out, to say that we do not want profits for blood in these countries where we are invading
responsible for. There are thousands of drone victims in these countries. The perversity of this place. We are using engineers. People have gone to school to be engineers, and they find jobs making these drones. We need to change this system, this for-profit system that is being used to kill innocent people all over the world. We need to spend the hundreds and millions of dollars on health care, education, and the social uplift for all of us, for all people all over the world. We need to put companies like General Atomics out of business, and they need to be held accountable for the war crimes that the drones are inflicting on people.
Thank you, Maliki. Now, I want to do one thing real quick. Some brothers who came from New York, we're getting the die-in ready. There's some brothers who came from New York who wanted to do a quick verse. I wanted to give them a chance. It's about drone warfare. Are y'all ready? Ready to do your thing? How can I announce you, man? Tell me how to tell the people who you are. Campesino! All right. Campesino is going to do his thing right now. Hablame pueblo! What's up, people? Power to the people! Power to the people! Hey, yo, everybody right here is awake. Just know that, yo. Everybody out there, they sleeping. They don't hear the cries of the children getting bombed every day. 40,000 people are dying from hunger besides the bombings. How many people is dying a day, man? Let's ask the questions, dog. Let's ask the questions. We from the 5 boroughs, but we repping the 3rd world. And the hunger and the plunder, yo. Yo, check this out. You know, I be hearing a lot of murder on my TV. That's why I turned it off, but I still see the murder on RT because they repping the truth. So I wrote this song just for the children getting bombed, yo. I was like, they don't know who we be. Starving kids, no food to eat. U.S. bombing overseas, families die and bleed. Over oil, lies and greed. Earth is dying, cutting trees. People blinded, live deceived, and then we drowning, trying to breathe. Cause the rich are fucking thieves. Education, human need. Fighting for it to be free. Student movement in the streets. I'm on my feet, you on your knees. Rising up, fuck police. I see no justice, what is peace? Yeah, I occupied Wall Street. In the trenches, no time to sleep. Revolutionary, but discreet. Go and sell, keep watching me. Livestock and poverty. Single moms can't pay their bills. No, I don't want to make a meal. Banging out like Bobby said, so I'm going in for the kill. With no infrastructure, where the resources is being robbed and pillaged by these corporations that are also making money from killing them, dogs. It's an oxymoron, but we gotta stand the fuck up, yo. Give it up for my man Campesino, man. Give it up for my man Campesino right now. We're getting ready to do this die-in. We're just pulling a few things together so we can make it happen. But just to give y'all a sense of what we're gonna do. We have one very important individual I was told who just arrived. I don't know, Reverend Hagler, are you here? I heard that you were in the house. Would you mind saying a few words? The Reverend Graylin Hagler, Senior Minister of Plymouth Congregational Church, one of the strongest voices for every movement against injustice in this city and around the world. Please welcome Reverend Hagler.
Bless you all for being here. Because it's important that we lift up this message to end these drone wars, because there has been a conspiratorial silence that has been taking place and has gripped the country as if somehow a sanitized war where you don't see the bleeding and you don't see the dying and you don't see the pain is somehow all right, and because you don't see it, you don't need to have a voice against it. But sisters and brothers, this is wrong. This is immoral. This is unethical. This is illegal. And we need to stand up and demand that the president and all the governmental mafia step down if they don't cut this out. support political leadership when they're wrong. And unfortunately, I will say it, President Obama went to office and somehow he became an impersonator of George W. Bush. You got George W. Bush in blackface. Let me just be honest about it right now. Because when folks heard the word change, they meant change. Change the way you relate to the world. Change the way you do economics. Change the way in terms of the policies. Change the ways of exploitation and oppression and colonialism and neo-colonialism. Change means change. Now you can't say change and it be something empty and meaningless. Change. You know, in Christian language, we call it repenting. I'm here to say today that the president needs to repent. Needs to repent. Now, he might run away from Jeremiah Wright's church, but that Jeremiah's voice is still out there. You need to repent. You may go over and try to hide from the hard questions, but it's still the same. You need to repent. Because when you repent, that means that you turn away from evil ways and turn back to righteousness and justice. So he needs to repent. To turn away from the evil ways that are built into this political paradigm, he needs to repent. Turn away from it and help to be an agent that brings something new into existence. That something new means that nobody should be fearing death being rained down from them on the sky. No child should be worried about whether their village or house is going to be wiped out. Mama's going to be wiped out. And how can you claim to be moral when you have basically denied any kind of due process? So you've become the judge, you've become the jury, and you've become the executioner. But I got news for you, and we need to all say it. It will not be in our name, because we will not sit down. It will not be in our name, because we cannot be quiet. It will not be in our name, because we're going to continue to keep on, keeping on, until justice is won, until righteousness is reclaimed, until justice is built up, not only here in Washington, D.C., but all around the world. Just keep marching and keep standing up and keep being a people of good conscience and righteousness. God bless you. Continue to struggle.
Congregational Church. And we're going to hear maybe a little more from Reverend Hagler. We're going to hear a little more from Colonel Ann Wright. We're going to hear from Brother Diop Olubala from the Black is Back Coalition. We're going to hear from some students from Howard, from all over the place when we get to GW. But we want to have a bit of a solemn moment here. We've been talking a lot about the victims of this drone warfare, and thanks to Code Pink, we were able to put together a list of some of the people who have been victimized. And what we want to do is right here in the front, we're going to have a die-in, and what we're going to do is, and we ask people to really treat this with some solemnity, we're going to read the names of these individuals who have been killed, and as names are read, people will fall to represent that name. We have a number of children as well who are here at this march, and their representation will really represent the children who have been killed. So I want to bring up Noor from Code Pink to join me as well.
She's going to read a name.
Give it up for Noor.
Hello, everyone. Firstly, wow, there are so many people out here. When the drone movement started, I never thought that I would be here looking at this many people who care about it. I'm the drone campaign coordinator at Code Pink. I'm from Pakistan, born and raised in Islamabad, and that's why I became passionate about this issue, because I saw the havoc that is wreaked upon my people, torn us apart, marginalized people that are already marginalized, and rained terror onto people. As you know, one of the most dangerous things about drone warfare is that victims are not recognized. There's no compensation scheme for children and women and families that are torn apart. We have news agencies like the Bureau of Investigative Journalism that are working on the ground to name the dead, to bring their narratives to life, to give them some place when it's been stolen away. So we're going to have a die-in. We have a few brave volunteers and 2 children actually that are also going to be dying in with us with their masks and the shrouds. And I'm going to read all the names that we have right now. These are only about 100 names from over 5,000 that have been estimated. Nobody knows how many people have been killed, but this is numbers that have been thrown around. And what we're going to do is read them slowly, and after each name, I want everyone to solemnly say rest in peace. Let's give these names and these lost lives the honor that they deserve that they don't get. So I'm going to start, and I just ask that everyone be solemn and respectful at this point, and to say rest in peace after I recite each name. So we're going to start off with Pakistan. And just before we begin, I know that there are drone strikes everywhere, but the ones that they've recorded so far are only in Pakistan and Yemen, and they're planning to expand it. So I'm just going to read the names that I have right now. So, Noor Aziz, age 8. Abdul Wasit, age 17. Noor Sayed, rest in peace. Aisha, age 3. Hayatullah, age 16. Maisel, age 8. Muhammad Tahir, age 16. Azizul Wahab, age 15. Ziauddin, age 16. Ilyas, age 13. Sohail, age 7. Noor Muhammad, age 8. Khalid, age 12. Mashouk Jan, age 15. Nawab, age 17. Noor Muhammad, age 15. Ziaur Rahman, age 17. Shahabuddin, age 15. Gulsher Khan, age 15. Luqman, age 12. Ismail, age 12. Zahiruddin, age 16. Ikramullah Zada, age 17. Jamshed Khan, age 14. Alam Nabi, age 11. Rahmatullah, age 14. Siraj, age 16. Saidullah, age 17. Darvesh, age 13. Salman, age 12. Iftikhar, age 17. Ismail, age 12. Adnan, age 16. Shafiullah, age 16. Nimatullah, age 14. Talha, age 8. Amir Said, age 15. Hizbullah, age 10. Vilayat Khan, 12. Now we're moving to the names of the victims from Yemen. A lot of these have the same last names because in Yemen they tend to target entire households a lot more because they're more clustered together. So when I read names out, you'll notice that they're entire families that have been killed with one strike. Afra Ali Muhammad Nasir, age 9. Zaida Ali Nasir, age 7. Hoda Ali Muhammad, age 5. Sheikha Ali Muhammad Nasir, age 4. Ibrahim Lukie, age 13. Asma Lukie, age 9. Salma Lukie, age 4. Fatima Abdullah, age 3. Khadija Lukie, age 1. Hana Lukie, age 6. Muhammad Lukiye, age 4. Javas Lukiye, age 15. Mariam Awad, age 2. Shafiq Awad, age 1. Sheikha Boué, age 3. Maha Muhammad, age 12. Samaya Muhammad, age 9. Shafiqa Muhammad, age 4. Mabruk Al-Qadari, age 13. Dallah Nasser, age 10. Abdul Ghani Mahfouz, age 12. Abdul Rahman, age 16. Nasser Salim, age 19. So I'd just like to take a moment of silence for all the names that we have read thus far, and if everyone can just bow their heads down in respect, we could just have about a minute of silence to honor these victims.
And if those who volunteered for the dying could get up. Thank you so much for volunteering. Thank you so much for Kofi for putting that together. Thank you so much for to bringing the Pakistani perspective as well. Brothers and sisters, we want to move from here, from this brutal war maker, General Atomics, to the indoor conference / rally portion. So we're going to take it back to the streets. We're going to go up here a little bit further on Pennsylvania Avenue. We're going to go down 21st to the Marvin Center. We're going to go in there, and then we're going to hear from a lot of great speakers talking more about the drone warfare, giving us more great information. So.
Drone killing,
community. So nothing has really changed from that perspective. And certainly Barack Obama has been building on the precedent of the Bush administration to push forward these policies. So again, my name is Eugene Puryear. I work with the Answer Coalition. I'm going to be appreciate that. I'm going to be co-emceeing here with a number of people. We're going to have a number of different organizations. I see a lot of good people here. We're going to hear from people around the world in this country. It's going to be really exciting. So there's a lot of people here. I first wanted to see if it was possible if I could call on Brother Diop Olugbala from the Black is Back Coalition that helped build us for this demonstration, brought people from Philly and New York and some other places around the area to speak to us real fast. So give it up real quick for Brother Diop and the Black is Back Coalition.
Imperialism must go. Colonialism must go. U.S. out of Africa. 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 Uhuru. Uhuru. My name is Diop Olugbala, as was stated before. I'm a representative, and we are representatives of the Black is Back Coalition for Social Justice, Peace, and Reparations. And we want to extend our complete and total solidarity and support for this important demonstration that's been called for by the Answer Coalition to oppose the U.S. drone bombing of Africa. And we want to also, as organizational representation of the African community, we want to also expand not only our criticism of what is being done in Africa by the U.S. in the form of the drone bombing, but we want to condemn the total imperialist wars of aggression that are being waged against African people all over the world. Wars of aggression that include, right now, every 36 hours, another African in this country is murdered. Every 28 hours, another African is murdered by the police inside this country. The reality is that there's no difference between what the U.S. military is doing in Africa right now in the form of the drones and what the police are doing in the African community in places like D.C., Detroit, L.A., and Brooklyn, New York. And the reality is that it is not enough just to condemn or criticize particular policies or ways in which these wars of aggressions are being waged, because the fact is, even before there was a discussion about a drone bombing, the U.S. was engaged in a vicious war of aggression against Africa and African people. The reality is that this is what we refer to as a colonial occupation of Africa, in the form of AFRICOM, in the form of the drone bombings, but not only what the U.S. is doing, but what U.S. and European imperialism is doing, like what the French are doing in Ivory Coast and in Mali right now, what they're doing in Haiti, and what's going on in our communities all over the world. So we are against the colonial occupation of Africa and African communities around the world, and also, most importantly, we have to be critical of this occupation in the context of how this entire social system was built. The reality is that what is known as U.S. colonial occupation in Africa right now in our communities is a way in which this system of parasitic capitalism is being protected and defended by U.S. imperialism itself. We're talking about a system that was built on slavery and colonialism, and therefore it can't be reformed in any kind of way. The only way to see peace and prosperity for the oppressed people is not to reform the ways in which imperialism is attacking oppressed people, but to overturn the destruction of imperialism itself. That's a struggle. That's the struggle that we must all extend our unity and solidarity with. It's not enough just to say, stop the drone bombings in Pakistan or Africa or other parts of the world, but we must say absolute victory and self-determination to the people of Pakistan, of Afghanistan, African people as well. We must unite with the anti-colonial, anti-imperialist resistance that is being waged by African people, oppressed peoples around the world, including that which is happening right here inside the U.S. If we build that type of movement, then the drones that are being operated from centers like D.C., they'll be too busy trying to put down African, Mexican, and other resistance right here in the belly of the beast in order to send attacks in places like Africa. We must build and rebuild and complete a revolutionary struggle right here within the belly of the beast, and that is a call that we're making for the African community to unite with, and for everybody to extend solidarity with. So again, on behalf of the Black is Back Coalition for Social Justice, Peace, and Reparations, we want to just unite and salute the Answer Coalition for the strong stance being taken right now in opposition of the drone bombing. And we want to invite everybody to attend African Liberation Day, which is going to be happening at Howard University, Howard University is May 25th. I'm sure many of you have received one of these flyers. If you have not, you can come see me or one of these organizers, and they can give you more information about how you can hook up with the anti-colonial resistance of the African community.
All right, that's Brother Diabalo and the Black is Back Coalition. So really building on that, and I want to show people, actually real fast, I just want to get a sense of people. Is Colonel Ann Wright in the room? Ann Wright here, does she have to go? All right, well, if anyone see her, we're looking for it. But in all seriousness, we have a lot of people from a lot of different representatives, so we're going to have people coming from communities in America and internationally. The next brother I want to bring up is a powerful brother, a struggle that many of us don't know about, a very small country that's under the gun of U.S. imperialism, and that is the country of Gambia. So I want to bring up Brother Basamba Jao. He represents the Democratic Union of Gambian activists to tell us a little bit about how this drone warfare regime affects their struggle.
Thank you all, and thank you to Answer for the dedication in putting this thing together. I'm a Gambian. That's our flag here, and that's how it is spelled. We're a country of just 1.7 million. A few people know us here, and by way of background, Kunta Kinte is claimed to have come from there. This is a serious matter because the drone issue is the indiscriminate killing of innocent people in the name of fighting terrorism. But while they are fighting the so-called terrorism from here, the US government is supporting terrorist regimes around Africa. My president, who talks tough and acts like he's an anti-imperialist, actually is one of those who's been propped up by the United States government, because when he took power 19 years ago, it was a day when the US military was supposed to have a joint operation with the Gambian army. And the end result of it was the overthrow of a democratically elected government in the government of Sadara Kerawajawara. Gambia, though small, is one of 54 countries that has been used by the US and the CIA in their rendition in torturing prisoners. Most of the prisoners who've been tortured, some of whom were tortured in the Gambia by the CIA under the watch and dictate of Yahya Jammeh. Jammeh, who claims to be anti-imperialist, today owns a house in Potomac here that costs $3.5 million, whilst the masses of Gambians, most of which, up to 80%, live under less than $1 a day. So the America's contribution in the criminal activities of Africa is vast. We've heard what happened in Ivory Coast, we've heard what happened in Mali, we've heard what happened in most countries, including the Gambia. So the struggle should be that Africans, together with the conscious people of the world, should rise up to rid ourselves of the imperialist leaders who are today there acting as if they are fighting for the liberation of our people while they are fighting in the entrenchment of the colonialist policies and activities of the world. So I thank you also very much for all that you do, and hopefully we'll continue this fight to ensure that we'll have a world of peace, liberty, and dignity for all. Thank you.
When Gambia is under attack, what do we do? When Gambia is under attack, what do we do? When Gambia is under attack, what do we do?
Now, the next people I want to bring up took a very important vanguard action this week. Now, many of us saw Rand Paul do the filibuster against the drones, and I guess someone had to do something. But ultimately, All right, some people like that. But ultimately, we know that Rand Paul is also the type of person that wants to eviscerate every social program in this country, who tried to lie when he was at Howard and say that he supported the Civil Rights Act when he wanted to get rid of that. But Howard students, and I'm proud to have been formerly a Howard student, they weren't going to have that. And so when he came to Howard University this week, Peace, the Political Education and Action Committee, and others took action, unfurled a banner saying Howard University doesn't support white supremacy. Unfortunately, the administration does and had them removed from the venue. But the reality of it is these students have been fighting strongly on all sorts of social justice issues and really taking a forward step on the drone issue. So next I want to invite up some representatives of Peace, the Political Education and Action Committee from Howard, to come give us a few words. So welcome Peace, please.
Hi everybody, thank you for having me speak. I can only imagine what I was doing in my life at the time that a lot of these victims were just killed. I know when I was in my teens, well I'm still in my teens, but now, I'm sweating over losing a phone, I'm sweating over, not being able to go to, get an A over an A minus, little things that don't even matter 1, 2, 3 years from now. And at the same time, just overseas, people are seeing planes fly over their heads and running for their life, hoping to not be the day that they die. That's beyond me, and I don't want to ever know that I let this happen from my own country, more or less. Even if it's not your country, even if your country is the one directly being affected, this is something that we can't, as a people, let go on. We need to hold our government responsible for the things that they do. I mean, they say we the people, we need to act together and do all that we can to make sure that this doesn't go on. People are dying for what? Money? Don't we have enough though? Things, we need to take action. And it's beautiful that I see all these different faces here today, but we need to make this force grow and hold our government accountable for the many, many things that they do that cannot go on. And go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Thank you again for having us. I think in this issue, it's just important to realize the importance of human life. It's not just another issue on a political agenda. Human life is priceless, whether it's American life or life abroad. There's no price on human life. No child should grow up in terror, fearing for their lives every day. It's important for everyone to seek out issues of truth and of justice and of light so that we can spread and make this world a better place. And I really just commend everyone for being out here, and let's change the world. So thank you guys.
Yeah, I would like to also say it's really cool to see all of the different people that are represented here today, and also kind of the different internationalist feel that we have here. We have all these different countries. We have people, bringing the Palestinian question to hand, and I think it's important for us to start connecting these issues, start connecting these struggles, so we can see that it's just big. It's bigger than us. What I'm saying? We're trying to fight against this racist, capitalist, sexist system. But just to give a little event plug, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Students Against Mass Incarceration. They're having their national conference Friday and Saturday, April 19th and 20th. It's going to be a very good event. There's going to be workshops on mass incarceration, workshops on global solidarity. There's going to be a number of different speakers. Rosa Clemente, M1 from Dead Press is going to give a performance. We're also actually going to host a movie screening on Friday night that's called Hip Hop is Bigger Than the Occupation. Yes. And so just to connect issues, there's going to be live graffiti painting. Friday night there will also be an after party at Sankofa with different local DC artists and an all women's like rock hip hop band from Baltimore. So definitely go online, sammy-national.org, register, please come out. It'll be a wonderful event. And yes, thank you guys, and let's continue the struggle.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't have any flyers on me, but if you want for more information, just come talk to us. But yeah, sammy-national.org.
All right. I just got an important note here, and I want to really keep the international flavor of what we have going on real. We just had some students from Howard, and we'll have some other students. But I know that Yemen, which is one of the countries that's been significantly under attack, where the drone warfare regime has really been in full effect. We have the Progressive Youth Organization of Yemen, who is here supporting us today. So first and foremost, I just want to thank them for coming out. And we have solidarity with the people of Yemen at all times. Now I know, Bushra Makhtari, are you here and able to speak? We would love for you to speak. We have a young person here from Yemen who would like to speak to us and give us some words. So let's just bring our solidarity with Yemen. Bushra Makhtari.
أنا لا أجيد الكلام باللغة الإنجليزية. سوف أتحدث العربية وصديقتي سوف تترجم.
Yeah, I'm coming. So my English my Arabic translation is not that great, but I will do my best. She says that I'm going to be translating for in English, and she'll continue with that.
أنا طبعا سعيدة اليوم إني أحضر هذه المظاهرة. رغم إني متعودة في اليمن المظاهرات إنه في رصاص وغاز مسيل للدموع.
She says she's very happy in participating today, and also she's coming from Yemen, and she participated in the revolutions there. And she's saying that over there it's basically bullets versus army, and here it's much calmer and more subtle.
وكذلك سعيدة إنه الشعب الأمريكي هو شعب حي ولديه ثقافة انفتاح وتسامح أمام الشعوب الأخرى.
She basically, another version says that she's very happy with American people and participating in the anti-drones and to stand against basically illegal killing.
ما أريد أن أطرحه هنا أنه نحن في اليمن نعاني من طائرات بدون طيار الذي تقصف أبين والبيضاء وكذلك شبوة.
She basically says that in Yemen, basically in a province called Shebwa and also Abiyan, right? They are fighting against drones that have been killing innocent people for the past few years.
وربما سمعتم عن المأساة الإنسانية في المعجلة حيث سقط مئات من المدنيين ومن الأطفال.
She basically says that that innocent kids also have been more than actually. There's a quite large number actually of kids that were killed innocently due to politics and that kind of issue.
سقوط يعني إنه ضرب في الطائرات من الطيار هي تؤدي إلى الكراهية نحو أمريكا ونحو الشعب الأمريكي.
When the drones actually airstrike people, it's counterproductive, and that means that there's going to be more anti-Americanism against the government, and so right, okay.
وإن هناك طرق أخرى لمكافحة الإرهاب غير قتل المدنيين في اليمن وباكستان وأفغانستان وأفريقيا.
She also sympathizes for the people that were also killed in Pakistan and Afghanistan in regards to this issue of Al-Qaeda and those political situations there.
كان لدينا أمل في أوباما أو يكون هناك تغيير عن سياسة بوش في الوطن العربي، لكن مؤسف إنه ما زالت نفس السياسة تجاه البلدان العربية والإسلامية.
She hoped that the Obama administration would actually change up the foreign policy in Yemen, or even when it comes to drones and things of that nature, compared to the Bush administration. But unfortunately, she says it's basically the same.
أنا شخصيا ليس لدي أمل حاليا في أوباما، ولكن لدي أمل في الشعب الأمريكي والناس الطيبين أمثالكم.
I didn't translate. She says, that she really thanks the American people for standing up against these drones that have been killing people overseas in Yemen, and she wishes you guys to continue the action there.
طبعا هذه أول زيارة لي إلى أمريكا، وكان قبل أمس استلمت جائزة من أجل الديمقراطية من منظمة أمريكية.
This is her first time actually in America, and she came a few days ago to receive an award, if I'm not mistaken, for an organization or an NGO for POMD, is it? POMD?
Democracy for Middle East.
Oh, Democracy, my fault. Democracy for Middle East. So this is her first time in the U.S.
Welcome.
وأنا إيماني كذلك إنه ثقافة السلام ممكن يعني لابد أن تسود وتنطلق بين كل شعوب العرب.
She's trying. I was born and raised here. I don't know, but she says that she wishes to continue the peaceful actions in the Middle East and also here as well.
لابد أن نقول من هنا توقف سياسة أوباما، ونحن كلنا ضد قصف المدنيين في كل الدول العربية والدول الإسلامية، وكلنا شعب واحد وثقافة واحدة.
She says that in the recent Arab Spring and all that turmoil, regardless, we're still, one people, and we're very unified, and we will continue our struggle in a unification process again. It was a struggle, really. But I'm also a Yemeni activist, born and raised in New York. But I also spend a lot of time in New York. Anybody? So I'm also right. Definitely, we need to stop that. Yes, always NYPD. So I'm a Yemeni activist, and I actually worked with refugees that were affected by U.S. drones. And there are about 140,000, if I'm not mistaken, that were affected and displaced, IDPs, internally displaced persons or peoples, if you want to call it. And they really sent me a message, because I'm a freelance writer over there and I travel constantly. They told me to tell the American people, this is just from their words, that they really want to thank you guys for protesting against these drones, and also to really hear them out, because they've been out in the cold and nobody really pays attention to them, and they're stuck in schools and with very limited necessities and all that, and they're really struggling in that kind of field, and we wish that, unfortunately, I'm really disappointed with the Obama administration as an American citizen, especially with the kill list, and that's something very important. It's illegal against our Constitution. I'm a very hardcore constitutionalist. I could whip out some articles right now, but so I really hope we continue this, and we will stand together, I guess, against this. Thank you.
When Yemen is under attack, what do we do? When Yemen is under attack, what do we do? Said when Yemen is under attack, what do we do? All right, well, thank you guys so much for bringing that message direct from Yemen. Now, next, I want to bring here, if possible, I hope you're ready. I don't know, is Chevy here? Is Chevy Evangelista here with Ugnayan? I want to ask Ugnayan to come up here and really let us know what's going on in the Philippines. This is a country that's tremendously affected by the U.S. imperialist war drive, and I really want to give them a chance to let you guys know about that. So I just want to give it up for Chevy and Ugnayan.
I'll start with saying I'm queer, undocumented, and unafraid. We're Ugnayan ng mga anak ng bayan, or linking the children of the motherland. We organize Filipino youth and students because we realize that the root causes of our migration is because of the destruction of our homeland by U.S. imperialism. We are here today to stand in solidarity with the victims of drones killing and tell them that we're gonna hold President Obama accountable and tell him you are a murderer, okay? And we're also here to support the national sovereignty, whether it's in Iraq, Afghanistan, Palestine, the Philippines. We're really here to also demand to stop the visiting forces agreement in the Philippines, where the puppet Filipino president will sign an agreement with the U.S. to have trainings in the Philippines, but in reality, it's really a form of neocolonialism. U.S. troops in the Philippines is rape, is like rape to Filipinas. U.S. troops in the Philippines is really trying to crush the revolutionary forces in the Philippines. But what they don't know is that the Filipinos have been fighting for national independence for 100 years. And the more that they crush the Filipinos, they emerge activists and revolutionaries and the New People's Army. So we are here to demand to end the visiting forces agreement, so let's raise our red flag and continue crushing U.S. imperialism.
Give it up for Chevy and Naya. Next, I want to bring up one of the most stalwart figures for justice in this country, who's done so much to make it possible for us to do things like we did out on the streets today and protest. I won't say too much by way of introduction, because I'm sure many of you are already very familiar with the work for the Partnership for Civil Justice Fund. I want to bring up Mara Verheyden Hilliard with PCJF to say a few words to us here today. Give it up for Mara.
Good afternoon, sisters and brothers. It's fantastic that so many people have come out, that so many people are in the streets, that so many people are fighting. You know, I opened up the New York Times, I was looking at it this morning, they have an article, and it's about how major civil liberties groups in the United States have written a letter to the Obama administration about drones. And that's good, but as you read through the article, there's a little head scratching, because in the article it says that they are writing to question the legality of drone strikes. Now, I am a lawyer, but I'm not sure you need to be a lawyer. How many people are questioning the legality of drone strikes? How many people know that drone strikes are war crimes? How many people here know that indiscriminate killing is against the law? How many people know that murdering civilians and children is a violation of international law, is a violation of domestic law? We don't need to spend a lot of time looking at the books to understand that this is criminal, it is illegal, it is being carried out by this administration against people around the world, and now they're starting to bring drones to the United States. They want to bring drones to the United States. And all those companies that are just raking in dollars, making drones and selling them and sending bombs to slaughter farmers and kids collecting firewood and kids playing soccer. Now they can have drones over our heads all over the United States. And I read another article, and it was put out by a civil liberties group that shall remain nameless. And they were against the drones in the United States, sort of. What they actually said is what we need to do is have certain protections, and these are their words, so that we can adapt to the future of drones in the United States. Adapt? In the history of progress, when we see wrong and we see injustice, do we adapt? No! Or do we fight back? And in the march of history, for every moment that we have achieved progress, it isn't because we stood around questioning and adapting. It's because at each step of the way, people have fought back. And here's the key, and this has a lot to do with the drone technology and the modern warfare technology and the fact that the U.S. government wants the bleeding to be done on one side, that they want to carry it out as cowards, and I'm sure some of you saw they want to create a special medal for those guys that sit in their shorts behind the desk pushing a button and slaughtering people, special medal of honor because of the great courageous work they're carrying out. But here's part of the other equation, which is the relationship of forces. There are so many more of us here in the United States with our sisters and brothers around the world than there are of them. And they know it. And they know that the march of history is that people stand up, that they fight back, that no people will willingly live under occupation, live under subjugation, live under racism, sexism, bigotry, that all people will stand up and fight back, and that we are standing up fighting back. The mass movement of the Iraq War is not lost on this administration. They know that when you have people fighting together, coming together in the street, that there is a second superpower. And at all moments, they are highly conscious of it. We know it at the PCJF from the work we've recently done about the FBI spying on the Occupy movement. Not a new thing. We all know the history of the FBI and the intelligence agencies in the United States, murdering, shuttering, trying to shut down the Black liberation movement, the anti-war movement. It is what they always do. And what do we always do? We all organize and we fight back. The Answer Coalition and others have Vote No Drones, which is an organizing tool for people to come together on this issue. There are people here who are signing folks up, so I urge everyone to sign up for Vote No Drones or meet with someone here today and sign up, because we, as an organized people, change history, will change history. We're not going to adapt to drones in the United States. We're going to stop the drones in the United States, and we're not going to accept the killing of our brothers and sisters around the world. We're going to stop that slaughter, that murder, and we're going to put the war criminals in jail. So when they say adapt, we say fight back. They say adapt, we say fight back.
Give it up for Martha Hagley in partnership with Civil Justice Fund. They say get back, we say fight back. They say get back, we say fight back. And also go to justiceonline.org, which is the PCJF website, and get those documents about how the FBI and the Homeland Security are spying on our movements here in this country. It's very important. Justiceonline.org, read those documents and pass them around. Now, next I want to ask Colonel Ann Wright to come to the front. And for those of you who don't know, Ann Wright is one of the very few officials, people of conscience, who after 30 years of service to the United States government resigned over the criminal invasion in Iraq because as a person of conscience she could not be a part of that horrible, terrible criminal enterprise. Please give it up for Colonel Ann Wright.
Well, thank you, and thank you all for being out on the streets today. It's so important that we show that President Obama, that we totally disagree with what he's doing, that we join men and women, young kids, everybody all over the country in this April month of challenging the Obama administration's assassin drones, the killer drones that are buzzing right now, buzzing above Yemen, buzzing above Pakistan, buzzing above Afghanistan, buzzing above Somalia, and other countries' drones in Gaza and the West Bank, as the Israeli drones are buzzing all over occupied people, all over people who are being subjugated, that are being killed by these wars, by these occupations. So what we're doing here is extremely important. I mean, who would have thought that it would have been President Barack Obama that would have brought killer drones, assassin drones, to the forefront of U.S. foreign policy and U.S. military policy? If you look at the number of men and women in our military who are now dedicated to this new type of warfare, thousands, probably tens of thousands of men and women just like us that are sitting in front, as you mentioned, in front of those little computer screens that are there making the decisions on who's going to live and die, and looking at that kill list that the president has every Tuesday, and he makes the decision on which one of those names that's come before him Which one of those people are going to be killed, assassinated by the United States of America? It's so important we stand up and we go to those bases and we stand out there and we challenge the men and women that are actually pushing these buttons. How many of you all have been to one of the air bases here in the United States from which these drones are operated? Bill Perry has, Medea Benjamin has, Noor has, Ali has. It's important to go there. You can go to Syracuse, New York next weekend after next, for a major drone challenge at an air base there. I was out in Creech Air Base. I think you ought to call them drone bases. They're not just air bases. They're Creech Drone Base outside of Nevada, which has been the premier drone base of the United States, where drones were being flown in Afghanistan for the very first times. The killer drones flown from Creech Air Force Base. We were out there 2 weeks ago, and as you drive in from Las Vegas, and here's the desert out in front of you, and as you get closer to Creech Base, you start seeing planes in the air, and you get a little closer, and it's like, I think those are drones up there. And sure, they are the drones. They are practicing, the Reaper and the Predator drones. They're practicing to make sure they can land them, that they can land them for real in Afghanistan. And then in the late afternoon, there's a shift change. The daytime crew leaves, the nighttime crew comes in, and it's daytime in Afghanistan, it's daytime in Yemen, it's daytime in Somalia, and for the CIA, it's the daytime in Pakistan. And it's that night team that there is going to be sitting there at night and watching as men and women are in their homes, in their compounds, riding on motorcycles, being in cars, being in pickup trucks, and are being targeted by the United States, being targeted for elimination, being targeted for death. These death drones, these horrible, horrible death drones. You know, now we have a CIA director who is directly an integral part of the drone program. He couldn't get confirmed for a position 4 years ago because he was too involved in torture in Guantanamo. Instead, they appointed him to a non-confirmable position as the special advisor for counterterrorism, sitting in the National Security Council. And for 4 years, he was the special advisor to the president on killer drones. And so 3 weeks ago was the nomination and confirmation hearing for John Brennan. Did you all see that on TV? John Brennan, the killer, there to be the CIA director. And how many of you all saw citizen activists there to say, we don't want that man, and we don't want them? That's right. There were about 50 of us in the room. 8 of us got arrested, and the others were madder than hell that Dianne Feinstein cleared the hearing room of the public, because they too wanted to get arrested to show it. We had our hearing last Wednesday, being banned. 3 of us are now banned from Capitol Hill. Banned from Capitol Hill for 6 months. Banned. There's David Barrows right there. He's one of them. Yeah. Raise your hand, David. Yeah. Anybody else a part of that? There's Ali. She was a part of it. I was a part of it. We need to stand there. We need to be in the houses of Congress to say to our congressmen and women, get some backbone. Stand up to this president. Stand up to the killer president. So I, as a person who has served most of my adult life in the U.S. government, either in the U.S. military for 29 years, a U.S. diplomat for 16 years, I spent most of my life in the government. But I think the 10 years since I resigned in March of 2003 have been the most important for me, because it's now challenging these horrible policies that our government has. So I appeal to you to keep up the great work. You are the vanguard. You are the ones that are still at this day. You're coming out on the streets. You are challenging with your feet, with your voices, and it does make a difference. Someday we'll know what happened in that White House today. Someday at the Presidential Library, and let me just mention that next week in Dallas, Texas, another war criminal will be opening up his presidential library. George Bush's library with one book in it, the Goat Book, will be inaugurated in Dallas, Texas on April 25th. So if you have any frequent flyer points left, come to Dallas, because we're going to be challenging that president. We'll be challenging him. So for you all, it's so important. Keep up the great work. We are making a difference. The Congress is now having hearings on drones. The president eventually will have to cough up all of these documents, which will, just like George Bush, as we found out all the documents about the invasion and occupation of Iraq, about eavesdropping, about torture, those papers will be coming out on the Obama administration. And we always say, criminal courts are really good. International Criminal Court. Chiefs of governments have been put before criminal courts. Of course, nobody in the United States yet has gone before one of them, but that's where we, the people, have to be so vigilant that we have to prosecute criminal acts no matter where they occur, even if it's at the top of our nation. Thank you.
For a long time, this brother has been a student activist, a journalist, a stalwart Pan-Africanist, man.
Hello. I just wanted to say thank you to all of you, and I would like to thank Answer Coalition and Ron Becker, who's been doing a wonderful job, and he's from here. He's white. He does not have to care about the Middle East. He does not need to care about Africa. He does not need to care about Asia. But for at least 10 good years that I've been living here in America, I saw him working diligently on a regular basis, mobilizing and building a universal alliance of people from good faith, goodwill, from different races, so that we can stand up to imperialism and neocolonialism. Let's give a standing ovation to Brian Becker and Answer Coalition. And I would like to thank Brother Akbar Mohammed from the Nation of Islam. He's a historian, and he certainly will be hearing, and I hope that he's going to enlighten us and educate us about what is going on in the world. And for the struggle, that we've been doing, Ivorians, my brothers are here, Erike D and Gobi and Lewe Nyawa and all my sister Andrea Bagba. We were looking for people to support us because, as you know, on April 11, 2011, the French soldiers and French helicopters and planes, the United Nations planes and helicopters, the French troops and the United Nations troops supported, the rebels who attacked the country in 2002, the European troops did not do anything to disarm them. But for 10 years, those people divided the country. And then when they thought that Babo Laurent was supposed to go, and then when he was asking them to come and do the recount, irrespective of what we can think about Babo, they have decided to take a resolution here at the United Nations and to go and bomb civilians, hospitals, universities, residencies in the Ivory Coast, and then we were terrified. They arrested him, and as we speak, he's at the ICC. As we speak, the president of the Ivory Coast, Alassane Dramane Ouattara, the groomed IMF president, who is implementing the neoliberal policies, firing people, cutting the salaries of workers who decide to go on strike, loot his rebels looting on a regular basis, and Obama, Hillary Clinton, and all those people who were talking about the humanitarian crusade in Ivory Coast, they became silent. They are ashamed. And the American ambassador who took the president of the Electoral Commission to the headquarters of Alassane Dramane Ouattara to proclaim that Alassane Ouattara was the winner, today he cannot speak up anymore because Ivory Coast is a land of insecurity, and we can see that we stood up. And then we have the support of Brand Baker, we have the support of Eugene Perrier, Herder, and my brother Ngonda. We have the support of Brother Akbar Mohammed, and today we can speak. And I want to thank all of you for the support we receive as Ivorian people and as Ivorian activists. And that's why I am really touched today. And if I have a message, it will be for the Africans. It is time for us to wake up.
That's right.
It is time for the African people to wake up. It is a shame to see young white kids, and young Asian kids, and young white people and even activists fighting on behalf of Africa. It is time for Africans to wake up. And that's why we are struggling on a regular basis to try and bridge the gap between Africans and people of African descent. That struggle has to be done through the lens of Pan-Africanism and related and linked to the universal struggle, to the international solidarity of freedom seekers and justice lovers. This is how, together, we can come together and defeat neocolonialism the same way 50 years ago. People in the Middle East, in Asia, in Africa, Pan-Africanists came together, to put an end, to the neocolonial rule. That's the same thing you need to do today, and I thank you for giving me this opportunity. God bless you.
Give it up for Kenyatta. And please check out the Reviving Pan-Africanism Forum that he represents. They put on a lot of great events and have a great website. Next, I want to bring up Brother Leo, the coordinator of Cree Pan-African, another brother who I've started working with just around here in GW with the Libya situation. Brother Leo from Cree, please let us know.
I get very emotional because I'm here to speak about a genocide. A genocide of African people, but mostly of my people. One day I was walking down the street of Washington, D.C., and I saw a flyer about an event on the situation in Libya. And I saw the name of Answer Coalition. I'm like, I need to get in touch with these people. Because I'm like, the only way the voice of Ivorians will be heard here in the United States is to approach organizations that work against war or work on a humanitarian issue. I said, I got to go over there and meet them people. So I went to the event, and I sat in the back, and they spoke about Libya, about the bombing on Libya, and never was Africa mentioned during the entire presentation. And during the Q&A, I rose up, and I'm like, Africans were bombed before Libya. How come nobody mentioned it? And the brother on the panel, who was in the delegation that went to Libya, he said, you Ivorians, we never seen you in our events. You love the French, you love to kiss them behind, now you're in trouble with the French, and you come and disturb us. Go and solve your issue with the French. And the entire room applauded. I was confused. I rose up. But he was right. That's the sad part about it. He was right. I've been in the district for a long time. I've been to events, IMF rallies, and I've barely seen black people, even Africans. And Al Sharpton have been organizing events for Africans in New York. The African cab driver would pass by and won't even come and join. So he was right. We don't have that consciousness about what happened collectively to us until it concerned us directly. Yes. Even then, we had issues. We can get together. So, the brother was right, but I still got in my feelings, and I rose up, and I started. It wasn't a nice situation, but at the end of the event, brother Brown Baker humbly approached me, pulled his card out of his pocket. He said, here, call me, and we do something about the Ivory Coast issue. I know he had an ovation earlier. I want him to rise and give him another ovation for opening the door to us to speak today. If it wasn't for that event, that particular situation, we wouldn't be here. It's not that he didn't care about the Ivory Coast, but because we didn't do our homework. We didn't approach an organization like you and explain to you what happened. Because what you read in the news is nothing but propaganda. And many of you, even this is what I love. The progressives organization will give the version of Ivory Coast that the other side manufactured. And that's the first dangerous thing. It means the propaganda is working. Because we're not doing our homework. So Brian Baker said, we will. And I called his office, and the day he was looking for my number. He said, I can't believe this. We're looking for your number right now. Because I was invited to a conference, and since then, he participated to about 2-3 conferences that we put together. Empty. Ivorians didn't even show up. You know, the brother minister, the Honorable Minister Akbar Mohammed, came to the event. Sometime he had to pay for his own ticket. And I was in the hotel room. He said, Brother Leo, no, I understand, because I told him, I don't understand. The room is empty. So I'm here today to tell every organization of you that never had a chance to hear about the Africans, I'm coming to you, knock on your door. I'm coming to you, knocking pink code and all this organization. We need your help. Now, I know I kind of get emotional and talk everywhere, but I want to be specific. And when I was walking, Brother Akbar and I was having a conversation, and he addressed the situation of refugees, Ivorian refugees. It's hundreds of thousands of them. In a refugee camp in Togo, as a woman organizing over there in the refugee camp, because the United Nations, which is running the refugee, are starving the Ivorian refugees in order to force them to go back to the regime that the West is supporting, to make them believe that everything is going fine in Ivory Coast. The police have arrested her husband. I call Amnesty International. He was released. I'm sorry, I'll conclude in a minute. But yes, I want to stress that situation about the Ivorian refugees. You know, they're starving. In the United Nations run camp, they deprive them from food. So I will approach some organization here if you want something to do about it. But I want you to understand the situation in Ivory Coast is going bad and terrible, and the West is hiding it, making believe that what's going on over there is perfect. So thank you for the opportunity. I couldn't say everything I need to say, and I'm going to let other people speak, but I will come to your organization, and we're all going to struggle to free the Ivory Coast from the French, from U.S. imperialism, for the corporations that are doing business over there. Thank you, and God bless you.
And next, I really want to bring up a brother who I worked with very closely in the last week. Many early morning calls to make this happen. I want to bring up brother Eric Eddy from Kasi, really one of the large platform groups of Ivorians here in America. So please give it up for Mr. Eric Eddy from Kasi, representing Philadelphia as well.
Thank you, and I think that those who came to the mic before me from the Ivory Coast have said a lot about what is going on. I am here also representing together with them the Committee on Actions for Côte d'Ivoire, which is the platform coalition of organizations of Ivorian nationals here in the United States. It is a great pleasure for us to be here and be part of this organization, Brian. It is phenomenal. I saw you very mad, emotional against the police this morning, and I said, there we go. Because it is the same mechanism that conducts the drones all over the world. It is a question of power. The question of imperialism, the question of logistics, to stop the mechanism of what I will say, the sovereignty of people. Brother Nyaka came in here before me and spoke to you about what is going on in the Ivory Coast. There are so many things we can link together, and that was going to be my final word on that. The number one thing is, as we read the news, the United States administration announced that it has positioned a drone base, if we can say, in Niger. Yes. Niger is just 2 countries above the Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast, Burkina Faso, and Niger over there. How long does it take for a drone to fly from Niger to the Ivory Coast? Seconds. I'm concerned, and the people of the Ivory Coast are concerned. First link. Second link why we are concerned. It was done secretly. And they did announce that. If it is for the fight against terrorism, we are also concerned. Our people should know about it. It was done secretly. But the secrecy links to something else, which is, in the 1960s, as the Ivory Coast and many other French former colonies were getting independence, secret deals were signed that allowed the implementation of military bases in those countries. The Ivory Coast, Gabon, Seychelles and Djibouti, where the US is also having a military base. It is the same mechanism which is continuing. The presence of drones, and this is the last link, somebody mentioned that earlier, bombs were used as a way to solve a political stalemate after an election. What do we do with drones? When I read, I'm informed that those drones are just for surveillance. They're not predators. They're not going to launch bomb those ones in Niger. But at the end of the day, the whole of Africa is under threat one more time. That's right. Somebody wrote, the mechanism of colonization were, number one, trades, and number two, the most sophisticated weapon was weapon to bring Africa under domination. We are talking about globalization today, and the new technologies of communication, somewhere those technologies are being used for what I see behind there, the replica of the drone. Thank you again for having us. We'll be in touch with you. Thank you for the support for the Ivory Coast. In the name of the Cassie, I've spoken. Thank you.
When Ivory Coast is under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When Ivory Coast is under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When Ivory Coast is under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back.
All right. So we want to keep it moving here. And next I want to bring up some students, mainly from American University, who really helped us spearhead bringing the issue of Palestine to the forefront of this demonstration. Israel, as we know, is one of the #1 users of drones, so I want to invite the students from AU, Students for Justice Against in Palestine, to the front here to say a couple words for us. And then after that, we're also going to have Brother Zakib, Rudy, and Mr. Akbar Muhammad, who will speak to us. So please stick with us here. We have a few more important messages we want to bring to you.
Hi, I'm Valerie from American University Students for Justice in Palestine, and Temple SJP is also here. Yeah, thanks for having us speak. I recently learned that Israel was the first country to develop the unmanned drone and use it in a large-scale war, which was the 1982 Lebanon War. And recently, last November, Israel violated numbers of international laws and war laws by using unmanned drones to murder nearly 30 civilians in Palestine, 12 of whom were children. And the thing that bothers me is that neither the drone nor the man behind the drone will ever see the face of those civilians. He won't see the face of the science teacher who was sitting on his lawn with his 3-year-old toddler who got bombed by the drone. They won't see the face of the 79-year-old man and his 14-year-old granddaughter who were bombed in their olive tree farm. That is the most frightening thing to me. The disconnection that drones make between the people behind the drones and the humans that they are affecting. But that disconnection is an illusion, because as humans, we're all connected. I mean, you can see it here. There's so many different people from races and countries and all around this country, and we're all standing together with those victims. And so I just think that the connection of humanity will overpower the power that they think they have when they push that button, because it's our money that's funding those drones, and it's our representatives who are supporting those drones. So this rally is a perfect demonstration of how we can stand together and end that support, we can end that funding, and we can end the occupation, we can end the usage of drones. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much again, Valerie. I appreciate you speaking. I just want to first of all say I would really encourage people who are here right now to please come talk to us after this event is happening. We would love to meet new people to not only understand about your issues and what you come here for, but also so we can help network together and ultimately build a larger consensus and coalition behind the Palestine Solidarity Movement. So I really appreciate you talking to us later. Okay, again, I'll be honest. I wasn't prepared to speak originally, but I'll do my best to speak from my heart. My name is Damien Fontanes, and I'm also with American University Students for Justice in Palestine. I hope you all appreciate here. Thank you. I hope you all appreciate the banner that some of us spent a lot of time on last night. Since here, Israeli drones out of Palestine and everywhere. We're going to show our solidarity with the drones. So, but again, as far as relating this to Palestine, the way I got involved with Palestine Solidarity organizing was back in my senior year of high school. I had no idea of the situation over there until I learned more about it and saw many connections behind the colonial settler state that's the United States and the colonial settler state that is Israel. Because let's go back to history. In 1948, when Israel was created, how was Israel created? It came from the ethnic cleansing of 800,000 Palestinian Arab people pushed out of their land to create what's now known as the Jewish majority state of Israel. So you can't ignore the connection between ethnic cleansing here in the United States and how it was created and how Israel was created. 500 villages, Arab Palestinian villages, were wiped out, to make room for another people. And we, as a student solidarity organization for the Palestinians, want to hold Israel accountable for its injustices against the Palestinians. For people who aren't aware, I want to let you all know that Israel is one of the biggest violators of international law and UN resolutions, and ultimately is the biggest denier of Palestinian rights. We're trying to hold Israel accountable by engaging in what's called the Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions campaign. For those of you who don't know, again, about BDS, it's basically a commitment to getting Israel to be held accountable for what they do through similar tactics in South Africa when they had an apartheid regime. Because, again, we're looking to ultimately have freedom, justice, and peace for the Palestinians, but Israel and all of this, things you see on the U.S. media have shown nothing to care about peace. If Israel cared about peace, why would they be demolishing Palestinian homes to create, more Jewish-only settlements for one people, not another? Why, in this case, if Israel cared about peace, they're going to go ahead and blockade a people in a large open-air prison of Gaza and not let them escape from these drones and attacks that keep them killed in such high disproportionate numbers? So we want to encourage people to get involved in what's called the Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions. So what this means is that we're targeting institutions, both Israeli and non-Israeli, that enable the international law violations of Israel and denial of Palestinian rights. So our organization, AUSJP, we're targeting a company called SodaStream. SodaStream is an Israeli company that does not have their company in Israel proper. It's located in the occupied Palestinian territories. It's on, in fact, an illegal Israeli settlement that expropriates and uses Palestinian land and resources for their own benefit. Remember, with settlements, they were created from the demolition of Palestinian homes and villages to create, an ethnic cleansing of one people pushed out for another. And we really want to hold people accountable for that. So again, we'd love to talk to you guys more, and we appreciate being here. Again, thank you for coming out, and please come talk to us about BDS and the Palestine Solidarity Movement. Thank you.
Now, all of you saw the great die-in we did earlier, and it would really be, I know some of you may have heard Noor speak, but I really wanted to bring Noor Mir up again to really speak on behalf of Code Pink and bring us greetings from Code Pink, who have done a lot to help build this demonstration and make it really a great day. So Noor, give it up for Noor.
Hi, everyone, again. I'm Noor. I'm the anti-drone campaign coordinator at Code Pink. We're an anti-war organization, and we work against all types of war, but one of our number one campaigns is drones. We've been on the scene for a while, and but what I really want to see now is more of a consolidated coalition against drones. We have so many different organizations with so many different platforms, but now is the time for all of us to come together to show a diverse and collected front and really stand up against this overreaching power that the United States has bestowed upon the rest of the world in a seeming pattern of imperialism. But Something else that we also need to think about is the global movements around the world against drones. There was recently a World Social Forum in Tunisia, and Anne Wright was there with Medea Benjamin. And what they decided was to start an international drone network. It's still in the making. We haven't really thought about logistics yet, but that's something that the foundation is being laid. So if you're interested in that, you should get in touch with me. I think it's time that there is a solid drone movement, a drones network in the United Kingdom. So, if we try to reach out to those people that also manufacture drones, we can have a more diverse front. So something else is also it was supposed to be on April 16th, but there was a drone hearing focusing on, it's from the Subcommittee on the Constitution, the Senate Judiciary Committee. It's been postponed to April 23rd, but I urge you all to come out. Something that we try to do as Code Pink is tell people that these hearings are public. It is your right to be there. They're going to try and tell you to stand at the back of the line. You say you've been waiting here for 3 hours. You don't care who's in front of you. They pay people to take spots in lines and wait there for hours so that they can just stroll in. We get there at 6 a.m. and wait there so we can get in. So I urge you, these hearings are an important platform to show that there are citizens, public citizens that care about what goes on in these closed rooms. They're not meant to be closed rooms. You pay for these rooms to be there. So you should be in them. So April 23rd, there's a hearing on drones at 10 a.m. So go online, go on the Senate Judiciary Committee website. I think they have an RSVP form. I don't know what that's about for planning purposes, but sign up, be there. There are important people who are often witnesses. You're this far away from people like John Brennan, who wouldn't get angry about it, who wouldn't want to say, hey, we're here, we're not okay with you waterboarding citizens. I'm not okay with them waterboarding Pakistanis, so you know what? I'm going to be there and say no. So you can also sit there and listen. It'll be an educational experience. So I urge you to come out and to visit codepink.org and keep updated about what we're doing.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jordan. Thank you for everything you did to help make that giant great today. And another thing, to even have this room wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for the Progressive Student Union here at George Washington. So let's give it up for them. And let's invite Paul Seltzer. Are you in the room? Are you in the room? You're here. And some other students from the Progressive Student Union here and GW. So let's welcome them and thank them so much for getting us.
Thank you so much. My name is Paul Seltzer, and I'm a senior at George Washington University, and I'm a member of the GW Progressive Student Union, as well as these other great students on stage right now. So, before I make some remarks on behalf of our group, I would just like to say thank you to Brian Becker, Zach Wolf, Sam Nelson, and everybody else, including the Marvin Center staff and workers, who, through their work and labor, we were able to get this room today for this conference. So give it up for all the workers that have done. And of course, I want to thank everybody, all the speakers and everybody who showed up. I want to thank everybody for marching, for speaking out, and for letting the Obama administration know that we will not stand for the violence of drone warfare, and we will not stand for the violence of U.S. empire. Students have historically played a pivotal role in movements to stop U.S. imperialism, and we in the GW Progressive Student Union know this very well, because our group has a long history of organizing students in solidarity with those working to end war and occupation, whether it was in the 1970 student strike against the war in Vietnam, or just 2 years ago when we disrupted events featuring former IMF Managing Director Dominique Strauss-Kahn. Now, our university lies at the crossroads of many institutions that perpetuate economic and military violence both here and around the world. We are just a stone's throw away from the White House, from the State Department, from the International Monetary Fund, and from the World Bank, all of which are now profiting off of the increase in drone warfare. This proximity to power makes it even more necessary to assist groups like the Answer Coalition when they hold actions like today's rally. But before we hear from more of the wonderful speakers who are here today, I think we need to situate ourselves. Right now, we are sitting in a building called the Marvin Center, named for one of this university's presidents, a segregationist president who was president from 1927 to 1959. His name was Cloyd Heck Marvin. And the Marvin Center contains GW's dining hall, where workers, most of whom are people of color, make and serve food for a student body that is vast majority white.
That's right.
These workers endure abuse from their managers in the multinational corporation Sodexo.
That's
Recently,
right.
these workers... Recently, these workers have started organizing to rebuild the strength of their union, Unite Here Local 23, in order to combat the verbal harassment, the pay cuts, and the mass firing they have faced over the past few years. The Progressive Student Union is currently organizing students, faculty, and others in our university community to support the Sodexo workers as they demand respect on the job and more strength for their union. And this is part of a national Real Food, Real Jobs campaign happening in many cities all across the country, and I might say citywide around DC. And I think that this work is vitally important for anti-war and anti-drone activists for a few reasons. One reason is because unions are necessary for the working class, for people of color, for women, and for everyone marginalized under the neoliberal global economic system that allows the U.S. to murder people with drones. And another reason is because through solidarity organizing, students and workers can alter the balance of power in universities, which are places that all too often support the status quo in international affairs. Of course, another reason is that Unite Here Local 23, the union at this and other DC University dining halls, also has shops at the CIA, the FBI, the State Department, the U.S. Capitol building. So building worker and student power at universities, especially in DC, helps build worker power at both the places where decision makers order drone strikes and where future decision makers learn whether or not they will carry out state violence. So what does this mean about all of us right here, right now? It means that all of our struggles are connected and that all of our power is connected too. Every victory we have in our local struggles, whether it's student and worker victories against the violence of union busting or other victories that we have, all of these victories are victories against the violence of drone warfare. And from what I could see at the march today, and from what I can see from everyone in this room and all of the wonderful speakers we've had, I think we're going to see a lot of victories in the future. So thank you so much. Thank you for coming out.
Give it up one more time for the Progressive Student Union here at GW. That was a great speech, and they made it possible for us to be here today. We really appreciate that. I'm fired up. I don't know if y'all are fired up in here now, but I'm feeling a little more fired up. I almost want to say something, but I'm the chair, so let me stay calm. Let me stay calm. You know, the next brother I want to bring up, I just still can't believe this brother drove here from St. Louis, man. I mean, that's dedication right there to come from halfway across the country like that to be here with us today. And I just want to say on behalf of the Answer Coalition how much we appreciate it. And without further ado, because some of you heard this brother earlier, powerful brother, I want to bring up Brother Zaki Baruti from the United African People's Organization out of St. Louis. Thank you so much, Brother Zaki.
First, again, let me greet each and every one of you. It has been indeed a very powerful day. But before I give my remarks, I'd like to just, we did drive here today, but in terms of offsetting some of our costs, in the rear we have a table where we have on display and for sale some iconic Black History buttons to educate our people about the historical folks who have struggled on our behalf, as as well as a variety of posters and our newspaper, the African News World, which we publish as a quarterly newspaper. First and foremost in my comments, let's all give, first of all, our MC a well-deserved round of applause for the kind of work that he has done today. And also, Ryan Becker from Answer Coalition. Let's all stand up and give him a round of applause, for he has brought us here in a very powerful and very moving gathering today. Let me just say this. Okay, we can be seated, please. You know, I've been an activist since I was about 17 years old. And I'm kind of really seriously heartened when I see the youth that's here. Yes. And one of my greatest desire before, and life is short, as we all know, but my greatest desire is to see a change in the power relationship that we have in this country, because this power relationship must change for people to live in peace, not only in this country, because within the confines of this country, we are at war by seeing all of the violent deaths that occur day in and day out because of the social conditions created by a people who's supposed to represent us. In their misrepresentation of us, they continue a policy that's domestically have people, the everyday people, at the bottom of the list, and the super rich, as some say, the 1%ers up at the top. That must change. It must change because, as many of the speakers also had made mention, if we can really picture drones above us, shooting down hellfire bombs, blowing the limbs of our children, our mothers, our grandparents, of peace, will we not be angry and want to have revenge, which creates the ever-ending cycle of violence that occurs throughout the world? So what we need, and this is the challenge that I would like to put upon you on a real serious level. You're at the center of power in the world, basically, with this country with as much military and weapons of mass destruction, which they say other folks shouldn't have, but this country has over enough to destroy the world how many times? So we have to, those of us who are progressive and want to have a better vision of the world, we must develop that vision and to share that vision with our neighbors, to educate them out of the many misinformation that they get from this corporate media that keeps them not being involved like they should be to have a better day for all humanity. So the task for the progressive community is to have an overall arching objective, in my humble opinion. And that objective is that you and I, we need to be in the power, in the seat of power in the White House, in the Capitol House, United States Capitol building, and all of the state houses, and you create the kinds of policies that are human-oriented versus what these folks are doing now. That's because too many times if we study history, and it is important that we demonstrate and express our anger at what's going on. But too many times, those powers to be continue in their decision-making to harm people here on this planet Earth. So the bottom line, in my humble opinion again, is who's going to control the power of this country and for what purpose. We must build this movement and not let it stay dormant. We got to keep moving forward. But it has to be, in my humble opinion again, an objective that we end this vampire kind of mentality that exists in the White House, no matter who goes into the White House. That's right. We must drive a stake through the heart of the evil machinations of the leadership that goes through there. So I submit to you, if you're really serious, this is really serious business. But we can do it. History shows historically when people are sick and tired, they can change the social fabric of a society. But it has to be enough folks that say that I am sick and tired of all this killing that's done in my name. And one of the first calls that we can do is say, America's leadership, if you want weapons of mass destruction to be not held in countries like Iran or North Korea, then set an example. Yeah. Let's reduce the nuclear armament. Let's say that we will unilaterally put an end to nuclear bombs and weapons of mass destruction. So, as I had said earlier, using the example of Dr. King, you know, he said that, again, paraphrasing, if we are to have to not continuously march and what have you and demonstrate, we have to have a whole new American way of life, a whole new American way of thinking, where this gun industry isn't at the forefront of controlling the decisions that's come out of the White House, where these warmongers can continue to produce these weapons of mass destruction without any kind of penalty. And last but not least, we also need to come up with a serious strategy that we put some hurt, economic hurt, on all of these companies that produce these drone warfare, as well as weapons, as well as any other corporations that do business that are anti-people. So on that note, I close, and I pray that even though I'm 65, I pray that before I give my last breath, that I can see a new day, a true new day, that we have people who are in power that are truly concerned about black, white, Native American, whoever, and bring about a better day for humanity. God bless you.
Give it up again for Brother Zaki Daruni. And like he mentioned, they have some of their literature here in the back. And before I introduce our next most dynamic speaker, I want to just say quickly, Dr. Jared Ball, he had to step out. He had his daughters with him. He had some family obligations. I mixwhatilike.org. Please check that out. That's his website. He just wanted to say very quickly, that ultimately he was extremely supportive of the demonstration, that he wanted to have, that we need to have a new political manifestation in this country that can do something about these issues and not just rely on the two major parties. I mixwhatilike.org. It has a lot of great information. Dr. Jared Ball, professor here at Morgan State, was gracious enough to have me on and discuss the demonstration on his radio show yesterday. He just wanted to send his greetings here to the demonstration. Next, I want to, please give it up for Dr. Jared Ball. Also wrote the book, A Lie of Reinvention, which you should check out, A Lie of Reinvention. I want to bring up Brother Akbar Muhammad next, the international representative of the Nation of Islam, a brother who has been all around the world to many of these countries that have been mentioned here today and can provide a perspective very different than almost anyone else because of his personal experience, and has been on the forefront of this struggle here with us on Libya, on Ivory Coast, and now here again on the drone issue. Once again, I want to bring up Minister Akbar Muhammad.
Thank you very much. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. As you know by that name, I should be a Muslim carrying a name like Akbar Muhammad. And every important thing in a Muslim life begins in the name of God. I want to first thank God for blessing me to be here. When Brian Becker put that call into me, and because he's such a warrior in the trenches, he makes it happen. We have a thing, make things happen. And he does that. And the coalition that he's able to pull together because of the issues that affect us all. Brian, I want to say, where's Brian? Don't worry, I won't read the whole book. Just half of it, okay? Brian knows that I'm long-winded. One of my favorite favorite sayings that I say to audiences. And when you get older, you feel you got so much to talk about. But I'm going to make this short, Brian, because you know I got to get a flight anyway. But I would say to the audience, I won't be keeping you long. And I got that from Elizabeth Taylor. That's what she told her 9th husband. Okay? So I'm going to try to go to the point. There's 3 areas I want to cover. You know, I lived in Africa for 12 years in the country of Ghana. But I didn't stay in Ghana. I traveled to 44 African nations. And I had a love affair with Africa. I fell in love with Africa. The soul and movement of the people, you know, their tenacity of will to struggle with very little. The time that I spent in India, where I really saw poverty, I saw poverty in the face of the people when they beg and they stop your cars. But in Africa, the people are poor, but you don't see that. We do have beggars in Africa, but you don't see that. There's a certain kind of spirit. And this time that I spent in Africa, one thing that came up is that I noticed that in 1967, the Israelis' embassies were closed across Africa, except South Africa. Because the Africans came together with their differences after that war, and they saw the persecution of the Palestinian people. I've been to Palestine 3 times, and I know what I'm looking at. My eyes have not begun to fail me yet, even at my age, but it's apartheid. And the forcing of the Israelis, the government forcing, if your child is born, you're going to have an Israeli passport. The road that I drove from Ramallah going to Gaza when Arafat was alive, they showed me the Palestinian road and the Israeli road. It's apartheid in South Africa. Here we champion the words of one of the presidents, Ronald Reagan. Tear this wall down, and yet and still we support them to build walls and fence people in. We separate families. We starve them out. And yet and still there is no protest because the Israelis control the media, and every Palestinian must be a born terrorist. And what they have produced generation of fighters. And this is what happens when you begin to kill people and they're longing to be free. It's embedded in the DNA of the children that are born that will continue to struggle, and you can see by the years that they have struggled. So what we have here is the drones. And every time you go to kill an individual with these drones, and Brian, I want to compliment ANSA and the organization, because there are many Americans who in these closed circles between the TV stations and the sports, they don't know what a drone is. They got an idea, but they really don't understand it, and they're not paying attention. But every time a Pakistani family, and there's somebody at the wedding that the enemy says that is his enemy, and he kills him, but he kills 30 people at the wedding party. Do you think that those people go home and say, I'm praying for them, God forgive them, for they don't know not what they do, and go on and live? But inside, they build a hatred that they grow up with. And in certain cultures, you know, if you kill my dog, I can kill your cat. You know, and they have it coded in certain religious aspects of their life. So what is America doing? They have the nerve to write a headline, why do they hate us? Well, you got to look at what you're doing. That's why they hate us. You know, why do they hate us? They don't hate you because you're some angel. You walked in with a halo on. But you're destroying their society, the fabric of their life, cultural imperialism, trying to take them out of what they believe and make them believe like you, because that represents modernity. So therefore, we have created a problem in the world that somebody has to lift up their voice. You know, I go back, I'm in the Over the Hill gang. So I remember the war in Vietnam. And when we got to the roots of it, because the young people had the audacity to protest and say the government is wrong, They were not so politically astute, but they knew that something was wrong. We have to stop them in Vietnam, because the domino effect will have, and if South Vietnam falls, then it will spread throughout all of Asia, Indonesia, and the rest of the country, and we must stop this communist menace. And 58,000 young Americans went and lost their lives. And the rest of them are so damaged that you see them sleeping under the bridges, and you see them all messed up in that war. And then because we fail to learn the lessons of history, we repeat the same thing. 4,800 young men and some women went to war in Iraq based on a lie that Bush told the unexpected closed-mind Americans. Saddam Hussein is a threat to the world. A threat to the world? He's got nuclear capabilities. If he had it, what was he going to do? As Fidel Castro said, put it in a slingshot and shoot it? There was a no-fly zone. How is he going to deliver a nuclear weapon to the shores of America? But we are so stupid, excuse the expression, and we're so fixed on ESPN, the boxing night, and so forth. Look, if you go to your television and look how many sports stations, I'm not anti-sports, but look how many sports stations you got, one after another, and when you finish that, you on HBO, and then on Cinemax with somebody with some crazy sex act. So how can you wake up the American people to the reality? So the war in Iraq, Saddam Hussein, and playing with him and so forth, because they wanted to seize the oil field. When Michael Douglas made that statement, I'm winding it down, Brian, okay, don't look at your clock yet, okay? But when Michael Douglas made that statement in Wall Street, you know, greed is good. And so the young, greedy capitalists took that and they said, well, why don't we have organized greed? We're going to organize this greed and we're going to take the world. And that's what has happened. So people have to die in order for them to do it. It's a shame that those 37 miners at that platinum mine in South Africa was not a wake-up call to the entire world. And the weak government in South Africa, and I have to say, they did next to nothing. They should have closed the mine down. They should have kicked them all out of the country and said, we're going to run the mines ourselves. You will not abuse our people. Most people did not know the condition that those miners lived in. Let me just move it one more place. The African Union, 10 years old now, but it's like a young lion. You know what happens to a young lion that loses all his teeth? He starves to death. And this is the condition of the African Union. No teeth, no bite. That's right. This is what's happening. So why can't the African Union, they're going to meet the end of next month to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the forming of the OAU, eventually segueing in 10 years ago into the African Union. Why can't there be a platform? Before they killed Gaddafi viciously, they wrote a little book called A Study of the African Union Government. There should be a platform rewritten now, being that the Libyans who put this together are either out of the country or dead or killed, but there should be a platform, no drones, in Africa. Why can't the African government and African leaders, and they say, why? We're trying to protect you from these terrible terrorists. Now, I'm old enough to have read a book called War Without Mercy. And I recommend that you go on Amazon and you may get it for $7 or $8. But it talked about the American strategy in World War II, when they had to fight the Japanese, who were sure enough fighters and believed in dying with honor. But in order for the American soldiers to be able to kill, they had to reduce the Japanese to stepping on a roach. You know, you step on a roach, or you got a mouse in your house, you don't have mercy on the mouse. You say, well, I don't want to kill, or the roach, I don't want to step on that roach. You kill it and don't even think about it. So in this book, they talked about it. They talked about the same kind of mindset they had to produce in these young soldiers. And I know that when the brothers go in the army, they don't get a political analysis of the world so that they can make an informed decision whether I should engage in this war or not. But they say, these are our enemies and you must kill them. They're doing this to the Muslim world today. They're making it so that when you see a Muslim or you even hear my name, Akbar Muhammad, you must be a terrorist. It's one of the Muslims. And so this is why there's a drone in Niger. The drone in Niger, and they keep this Boko Haram in northern Nigeria, these terrorists. The French had to go into Mali and clean out these terrorists. And you think of all of these guys are Muslims. And this is why Brennan could get away with torture. This is why, because they have set a mindset that the enemy of the Western world are these Muslims. Now we have to do something to turn it around. They make films. When Condoleezza Rice was working under Bush, this is on winding down, Brian. He's my timekeeper. They sent her to Hollywood. And they said, go and convince the people in Hollywood that will make films that will help us in this war. And they did just that. You go back now and do a rerun of Jamie Foxx and the Kingdom. Go back and look at Fatwa. Go back and look at these other pictures that they put about the Muslim world. They made the Muslims real monsters, so when you see them killed or a drone hits a village, you say, I'm just getting rid of some more Muslims. They're problems to the entire world. And that is what is going on right now. So it is important that we build coalitions. It's important that we work with others who have like minds, who can see that if we're going to change this around Zaki, it has to be changed around on a grassroots level. We proved that it could be done with Vietnam. We rocked the government in Vietnam. Young students got out there. So you cannot negate the young. There was an article recently about the Council of Elders. And we have elders. I mean, you have a Ramsey Clark who's been inside. But the young people got to sit with the elders. You got a modern way of doing it, a modern technology. But the elders can tell you about the traps. The elders can tell you about what they struggled in their day. You take it and put it in the modern method and technology that you have, but don't negate the elders as if we're over the hill gang. We don't know anything. We've been through it. And we know how vicious the American government can be. We know with COINTELPRO, we know how they'll mess with your family. They'll follow you, they'll do this. And what they want to do is frustrate you in your struggle. But you got to be on the case if you're going to turn this thing around. There's a book out now, and I'm going to close. This is my closing remark. I always feel bad, when I'm long-winded like this. It's called Why Nations Fail. It just came out. How many saw the book since it's been on? 27 African nations are mentioned in there. Robert Kaplan wrote in 1993, it was a magazine, and they turned it into a book, The Coming Anarchy. And he, like a prophet, predicted that Côte d'Ivoire would fall apart, the Ivory Coast. In that time, Hofni Bonnier was the president. It was nice. We could go there, roller skating, big hotels, everything looked beautiful. He said that nation would unravel. Then he talked about Somalia. Somalia is a failed state because there's oil there. Chevron knew it for years. But Chevron said, we're going to hold this oil. All you got to do is look up Chevron Somalian oil. Go Google it. That oil has been there for years. And they didn't want to touch it until they really needed it. And so what they do is create a failed state. DRC, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, is a failed state. And so if you get leaders who are conscious leaders, then, and if they don't play ball, go back to Mr. Economic Hitman, Perkins. And he got a line in there that they'll negotiate with you and talk to you, and if you don't go along with it, they bring in the gun. The gun today is these drones. So our petition, our lobbying, our agitating, our making sure we make some noise, no drones on the African continent. Thank you. God bless you.
Give it up once again for Minister Akbar Muhammad. Long-winded perhaps, but always informative and never boring, and that's okay with us. I actually just got a message, so we actually gotta wrap up, and we're gonna close with a very important announcement. But I want to at least recognize some of the very important personalities we have in the room that I wanted to bring up. First, I want to recognize Brother Bob Brown with the All African People's Revolutionary Party getting conquered. Give it up for Brother Bob, please. I want to recognize Sister Farida from the FMG, one of the organizations pushing the cause of the Togolese people. Please speak with this sister afterwards, learn about what's going on in Togo. I want to recognize recognize Brother Tim Baldock Luncheon from the University of Maryland. Stalwart student, worked very hard to help build this demonstration. We're happy to have people coming out. I want to recognize Brother Maurice Carney from the Friends of the Congo, also a stalwart organization helping us to move this demonstration forward. I want to recognize Brother Salami, an Afghani brother who came with us, came down here today and gave us support from the people of Afghanistan. These are all very great people, important people. Talk to them afterwards. They've done a lot for this demonstration and a lot for these issues, and we're very proud to have them here today. We're also very proud to have had all you here with us today. And before we end 100%, I want to bring up Sister Sanjua and Nkrumah for a very important announcement about an event that's coming up this fall.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Asantwa Nkrumah. All right, get your pencil and papers out real quick. Get your pencil and papers out. Come on. Get your pencil and papers out. Get your pencil and papers out. Let's roll. Everybody got pencil and paper out? Okay. Repeat after me. Palestine will be free. 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 All right. I'm here representing a coalition called the Palestine Work Group. It's a coalition of people of faith, Christian, Muslim, and anti-Zionist Jews who are coming together to organize a conference in solidarity with Palestine for later this fall, possibly this September, here in Washington, D.C. The purpose of this conference is to bring together people of faith, particularly the historic Black church, to finally speak up and speak out in solidarity with the people of Palestine. All right? Also, what we want to do is to seek to get more Christians to speak out on this issue, because we see how the Zionists have used the religion of Judaism to confuse people about what is Zionism versus what is Judaism, etc., etc. The purpose of this conference, we want to further expose the brutal, oppressive nature of Zionism and how it has nothing to do with Christianity, so it's called Christian Zionists, and it also has nothing to do with Judaism, the religion. We want to clear all that up. All right? So, sometime this September, here in Washington, D.C., we will have this conference. We're still working on it. We have not finalized a date or a church to have this conference. But I also want to add here, too, that one of the most important aspects of this conference is we want to reach out to the historic Black church. Because right now we see the Zionists are stepping up their recruitment of Black churches, Black preachers, and students at historically Black universities and colleges to take them on these wonderful trips to Israel and things like that. So we want to put a stop to this. So put it on your calendar. I'm sorry I don't have any flyers for today because we're still trying to raise money to get those kind of things done. But it's going to be sometime in September. We hope to have as a keynote speaker possibly former South African Archbishop Desmond Tutu, or possibly Reverend Jeremiah Wright, President Obama's former pastor. We'll have some of you here who are activists on some of our panels. We'll try to have panelists, former Congresswoman from Georgia, Cynthia McKinney. So put it on your calendar, September of 2003, Washington, D.C., the Palestine Work Group. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you so much, Sister Sandra. I appreciate that. And we really appreciate everyone coming out, all the individuals, all the organizations. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't have been able to do this event. It wouldn't have been New York Bus. I'm representing New York Bus, Philadelphia Bus. If you came down on those buses, we're happy, very excited. Everything you guys did really made a huge difference in this demonstration. And I'll just say in closing, we don't really view this as an endpoint in any way, shape, or form. This has been a really exciting event we've had. We put together a really exciting coalition. We've done interesting things in different cities. We've had demonstrations in Los Angeles, also in San Francisco. In San Francisco, we were able to work with Friends of the Congo for the first time to put together an event. So new linkages and new relationships and all of that, I'm sure, have been built by you guys. So we want to stay together. We want to continue to work because this drone warfare campaign is really the glue that can unite all of the struggles against imperialism and all of the struggles against this government is waging around the world. And we can take this coalition, we can grow it, we can make it stronger, and we can make a difference. So on behalf of the Answer Coalition, I just want to thank you one more time. Thank you so much for coming out, and we hope to see all of you again soon at your next event as well as ours.